News 4, watching out for you, uncovering scams and ripoffs, questioning wasteful spending, getting the answers you need. Now, Chris Nagus and News 4 investigates.
A $1 billion government contract involving hundreds of local workers at an Obamacare processing center in Wentzville. But now employees on the inside are stepping forward, asking, is this why we're broke? Some of them claim to spend most of their day doing nothing. Inside the massive Wentzville building that used to house the now defunct U.S. Fidelis, a new company has set up shop.
This is Serco?
Yep, this is Serco.
On a recent visit, a News 4 producer stopped by to see if they were still accepting applications.
We still have applications here for...
They do their application online.
The company is still hiring. A current employee wonders why.
They want to hire more people even though we still don't have to work to keep the people that we have busy.
After providing proof of employment, this Serco employee agreed to speak through the phone with their voice altered. The employee says hundreds of employees spend much of the day staring at computer screens with little or no work to do. Are there some days where a data entry person may not process one single application?
There are some weeks that the data entry person would not process an application.
The facility is one of 3 Serco locations that process paper applications, people seeking to qualify for insurance.
The main thing is that the data entry side does not have hardly any work to do. They're told to sit at their computers and hit the refresh button every 10 minutes, no more than every 10 minutes. They're monitored to also look for an application. Their goals are set to process 2 applications per month, and some people are not even able to do that.
It's no secret the rollout for the healthcare.gov website was a mess. But now that the website is running, this employee says the paper applications are trickling in less and less. Our employee doesn't appear to be the only one complaining. On April 16th, a person claiming to be a former Serco employee posted this online. This place is a joke. There is nothing to do. No work. Senator Roy Blunt was unaware of these claims when I shared this information.
We need to look carefully into this structure from top to bottom, but a call center where somebody's goal is to sign up 1 or 2 people in the course of a significant period of time, how could that possibly be reasonable?
We have centers in Missouri, Kentucky, and Oklahoma, and with everybody that's working probably 1,800 people trying to get one of 30 applications that pop up. There's just not enough there.
Our employee says every person who works here is happy to have a job and wants to work hard, but frustration is mounting. Serco's contract is worth upwards of $1.2 billion.
Serco, as a contractor, gets paid for the number of people that they employ. So they want us there even if we're not doing anything.
Originally, Serco agreed to respond over the phone, but a few minutes before our conversation, it pulled the plug, instead referring all questions to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the government agency handling the contract. That agency would not respond to specific claims made by the Serco employee. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid issued a statement on behalf of Serco saying Serco is committed to making sure federal funds are spent appropriately and the number of Serco staff is reviewed on a regular basis. Even before this story aired, I started hearing from more insiders and now former employees who make similar claims. You'll be hearing from them soon, and we'll be following up with lawmakers to find out why this is allowed to happen. Chris Nagus, News 4.
The investigation was first broken by News 4 and exploded across the country, and as lawmakers scrambling for answers. Tonight, News 4 investigative reporter Chris Nagus uncovers new proof that the company behind this may have overestimated how many workers it needed.
Today, we found the congressional testimony from Serco higher-ups, and it's becoming more clear by the day the amount of work they were expecting was greatly overestimated, leading to a $1.2 billion contract that's turned into a debacle on your dime.
Serco has decades of award-winning experience in government-related records management.
Serco Program Director John Lau talking to a congressional committee last September. Lau told the panel just how busy Serco expected to be.
We are prepared to manage the estimated 6.2 million paper applications, representing about 30% of the total applications projected to be received between October 1st and March 31st.
To ramp up, Serco opened 4 processing centers in Kentucky, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Wentzville with a hiring goal of nearly 4,000 employees. Those employees were hired and sat around bored for months, and after I broke the story last week, started coming forward one by one.
You're begging for work and you're begging for work, and they keep telling you it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It's not coming. I think for the entire month of December, I processed 6 applications.
And it wasn't just Serco employees who claimed their workday accomplished virtually nothing. In addition to Serco, there are at least 4 subcontractors working at the Wentzville facility, one of them Cognosante. Paula Bujeski worked there and also made some startling revelations.
We were sitting there doing nothing most of the day. Our supervisor, I can't speak for the other ones, but ours said if we process 1 or 2 of these applications a month, then we've done our job. So it's a lot of money to be spent on that little bit of nothing.
Bujeski said she was paid $17 an hour to accomplish nothing. I went to Arkansas where employees made the same claims. An employee at the Kentucky facility called me and also said there's nothing to do. Serco responded with a carefully worded statement saying between October and April, they processed 1 million documents, not applications. Remember, Lau expected 6 times the amount of work.
6.2 million paper applications.
Those paper applications are first sent to the Kentucky facility where they are scanned into the system. Today, Health and Human Services admitted 1 document doesn't equal 1 application. Now we're getting somewhere. So how many applications has Serco actually processed? Because in the end, how many documents were processed is irrelevant. Still no answer to that important question. I'll keep pushing. Chris Negus, News 4.
New at 6, a scathing audit reveals some embarrassing numbers involving problems with Obamacare applications. Investigative reporter Chris Negus learns the latest issues involve Serco, which employs hundreds of people in Wentzville.
Besides processing paper healthcare applications, Serco was also hired to resolve inconsistencies with applications, like whether someone is actually a U.S. citizen. Turns out there are still millions of inconsistencies, which isn't a shock to people that work at Serco.
Nothing's being processed where we're seeing that people are actually getting insurance.
That's a problem, and it's been going on for months at Serco facilities in Missouri, Arkansas, and Kentucky. Then today we learned about an audit by the Health and Human Services Inspector General that of nearly 3 million application inconsistencies, only 10,000 actually got resolved through the end of February, less than 1%. Serco employees say many of the applications are unfixable, so they just get shuffled around.
Now, those applications are just being tossed from area to area, and the same issues exist, and it's just continuously being put in a hold.
Since May, Serco employees have been stepping up one by one to expose the lack of paper applications being submitted. Serco expected 6.2 million. Employees told me only 300,000 actually arrived. Of the 300,000 that have been received, are a lot of them screwed up?
Yes.
How so?
How so? A lot of them we see continuously.
With issues ranging from missing documentation pertaining to citizenship, status as a national, family size, and household income. And that's important because that information can determine whether an individual gets a subsidy. Remember, Serco has a contract worth upwards of $1 billion to get this stuff done, and it's not getting done. Today, CMS through an email told me to date, 435,000 inconsistencies have now been resolved, but that leaves more than 2 million more to go. They say they've got a process in place to get this done. Employees have said that process hasn't worked well so far. Of course, I'll keep you posted as this story develops. In the newsroom, Chris Negus, News 4.
News 4, watching out for you, uncovering scams and ripoffs, questioning wasteful spending, getting the answers you need. Now, Chris Negus and News 4 investigates.
When News 4 Investigates goes after a waste of your tax dollars, we don't take no for an answer. 5 months ago, we first started asking the feds to hand over the records on an Obamacare processing facility in Wentzville where workers claim they were paid to sit around and do nothing. Now, after hounding the feds for months, we have the records, and it looks like a bad deal for taxpayers.
We played Pictionary on it was a very large dry erase board. We played 20 words.
The claims were startling. In May, employees that worked at Serco's Wentzville facility blew the whistle on an expensive problem. They were hired to process paper applications for the Affordable Care Act, but told us there was virtually no work to do, and the problem was well known to Serco managers, employees, and subcontractors.
Our supervisor, I can't speak for the other ones, but ours said if we process 1 or 2 of these applications a month, then we've done our job.
The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid awarded Serco the billion-dollar contract. In September of 2013, Serco's program director told a congressional committee just how busy Serco expected to be.
We are prepared to manage the estimated 6.2 million paper applications, representing about 30% of the total applications projected to be received between October 1st and March 31st.
So we submitted a Freedom of Information request to see how many applications were processed by Serco during that time period. Months later, we finally have our answer. Remember, Lau anticipated 6.2 million. According to CMS records, just over 271,000 applications were actually processed, less than 5% of the total anticipated. By then, Serco was paying workers with your dime in Kentucky, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and here in Missouri to handle the workload. After our story broke, employees told us they were asked to work overtime despite having little to do. So what do the supervisors tell you about the workload?
Well, they say work is coming.
That was in June, but information provided by CMS reveals applications fell dramatically leading into the summer. Through the end of May, slightly more than 3,100 applications were processed as employees at multiple facilities were being asked to work overtime. According to the contract with CMS, overtime is allowed, but not expected. None of this should have been a surprise to government officials. According to the contract, Serco was required to provide application numbers monthly. Serco fired back in May, saying between October and April, they processed more than 1 million documents. Catherine Hessenberg submitted some of those documents.
I've actually sent them a copy of my payroll check and a copy of my husband's pension check. That's all the income I have yearly.
Recently widowed, Hessenberg needed insurance. After submitting all the necessary paperwork through Serco, she was told to submit it again and again.
The marketplace needs you to send these documents in within 30 days or you will be dropped. I've sent them in 3 times now.
We brought the problem to the attention of CMS. A short time later, Hessenberg's problem was resolved. Lawmakers made a lot of promises about getting to the bottom of this, but now that we have firm numbers about how little work was actually accomplished on your dime, we're going to be following up with those lawmakers. Chris Nagus, News 4.
News 4 has spent months working to get records on a $1 billion government contract to process Affordable Care Act applications at a facility in Wentzville.
And the results may shock taxpayers. It has certainly shocked senators in Washington, D.C. today. Investigative reporter Chris Nagus has the latest on this ongoing investigation into the government contractor, Serco.
Missouri Senator Roy Blunt watched our investigation and today called out the federal government for taking a long time to respond to our Freedom of Information requests. On Monday night, we learned Serco, which has a location in Wentzville, processed less than 5% of the total number of paper healthcare applications that were expected between October and March of this year. For months, multiple employees have stepped forward saying they went days and sometimes weeks without processing any applications and were often bored on the job. Today, Senator Blunt shared our findings on the Senate floor.
You've got a workforce in place to do 6.2 million applications, and they do about 250,000. No wonder people from that workplace were coming forward. Numerous whistleblowers, according to KMOV, saying we're playing board games. We have library books stacked up on the paper on the tables. We're told every once in a while to push the button that refreshes our computer, so it at least appears that the computer hasn't just gone away.
CMS, the agency that awarded the $1 billion contract, told me my report was inaccurate and incomplete because Serco was hired to do much more than process paper healthcare applications. The company was also hired to resolve problems with online applications. They claim they've solved more than 1 million data issues so far, but they haven't resolved all of them. Yesterday, I learned 115,000 people are going to lose their health coverage at the end of the month because they haven't submitted necessary citizenship and immigration documents. 1,700 of those are here in Missouri, 4,000 in Illinois. Chris Nagus, News 4.